There's two reasons you can listen to me. First, these are my authentic and raw experiences that I'm going to be talking about in this video. It's not some filtered down garbage that I've just compiled into a YouTube video. I genuinely believe in what I'm saying. And second, I'm not here to sell you anything, I'm just here to put you on. If you watch for 2 minutes and you don't want to learn these skills or experience these things, that's fine. But for everyone else watching, this is the real deal. I want to expose you to a completely different way of thinking and even living. This is especially for the people who have seen some of the productivity and advice related to Ivy League schools online. You see the trends in all these different videos, right, where they overlap, but it just doesn't seem to be applicable or working for you. Trust me, this video is a hidden gem. If I want to give you a no bullshit video, I gotta give you the no bullshit facts. The truth is that hard work is inevitable. I'm not making this video for people who are scared to put in the work. There are going to be times in high school where you're going to stay up late studying. There are going to be times when you just have to lock in at 6 p.m. and grind for 7 hours straight to write the essay, to make a deadline. These things are things that you can't be afraid of, especially if you're going down this pathway. I'm gonna tell you a lot about having fun in high school, being able to enjoy your high school experience while also building a resume of the highest caliber. But that doesn't mean that it's an excuse or a supplement for putting in the essential work. Having fun is often seen as this worthless activity, and understandably so. But let's break this myth right now. You want to get into an Ivy League school, and that takes a certain amount of work. The way people like to explain it online is that it'll take you an X amount of hours to build an Ivy League tier application. For our example, let's just go with 1,000 hours. When you integrate good friends into your life, and you do the things I'm going to talk about in this video, that 1,000 hours number begins to drop and drop. The final result is that you can cut this number down to just 600 or 700 hours and use the remaining time to either one, just reinvest it into your college application and build a better resume than you originally had, or two, do the other things that you want. At the end of the day, when it comes to giving this advice, you need to implement it into your own life. If you want to spend time with your friends, your family, travel, start a hobby, you can do all of those things, but it comes down to the way that you manage your time in high school and whether or not you decide to implement what we're going to talk about here in this video. Off rip, I don't want to toy around with this idea that having fun is inherently productive. This is the foundation for the video, so let's make it as clear as possible. You are not going to have fun just sitting in your room by yourself. If the only fun activity you are doing is reading a book by yourself, taking a nap, bro, nothing in this video is going to be applicable or work for you. You have to have other people getting involved. On top of that, your fun needs to be happening in person, going to something, doing something. Playing video games does not count. There is nothing inherently productive about playing video games. The reason we're going to go about having fun in this way is that one, this is likely what the majority of you guys are already doing. The most enjoyable experiences come out of just working with and having friends, doing things with people. But two, these friends that you're doing these things with are the most important aspect of this entire plan. There are so many benefits that are going to come along from doing this. Your friends are your network, your community. You're going to do homework with them, you're going to study with them, you're going to start extracurriculars with them. If you have the right friends, almost any task becomes easier when you do it together. Naturally, more people means more brain power. Combined, you guys will have significantly more ideas. When you run into problems, they'll be able to help you and vice versa. And ideally, if you're like-minded and you're all thinking about getting into Ivy League schools, you all have those dreams, you will all pull yourself together in that direction. When you're demotivated, when you're tired, these people around you will hold you accountable. They will literally drag you along to get your next homework assignment done, to study for the next exam, to be productive and continue working towards your goals. If there's one thing I've learned from high school, your success is directly correlated to your ability to do the work when you least feel like doing it. Part of this process is also thinking about long term here. I don't want to dwell too long on discussing like the social skills and the connections you'll develop. We can talk about that later in the video, but it is an integral part. There is a life after high school called college that you're going to go to. Yeah, man, you're gonna need these skills in high school if you want to be able to thrive in that environment. College is just an extreme version of high school, and the better off you are at being able to develop these friends and these contacts, that number from 1,000 hours in college of work that you're gonna have to put in can literally drop to 300 if you have the right people around you. I want you to think about this having fun concept that we've constructed as being very similar to another extracurricular activity. You gotta put time into it, and if you're halfway there, then there's really no point. Not only are you just wasting your time, you're not really that close with your friends, you're not getting the kind of benefit that we want, it's something that you genuinely have to commit to. Now, we've established that friends are essentially the most important part of this. How can you tell if you actually have good friends? Do you have good friends? These are the questions that are constantly going to be in your mind in this video, so let's try to answer them right now. I want you to think of a friend. Get their image in your head right now. I'm gonna ask you a question and you have 5 seconds to answer. Name one thing your friend can do better than you. If you could come up with something off the top of your head, whether that's a trait, something like they being more hardworking, they're smarter than you, they're more creative than you, or if it's something else, it doesn't even have to be academic. If they have better social skills and charisma, they dress better than you, they have better presence online with social media, or they're better business minded, all of these things are great. And if your friend is even good at one thing, there's one thing that you can learn from them, then that is sufficient for our purposes. It's a strong indicator that that friend is a good friend. Now, not every single one of your friends needs to have a trait like this. Some people are just reliable. You can consistently go to them to study, maybe they take good notes in class, or they're always aware and up to date with the things that are going on in school. Other people can just be the glue to your friend circle. Maybe they're the person that gets like roasted and bullied by everyone all the time. Maybe they're the person that almost is the fun in these occasions. They're super funny, outgoing, they bring the livelihood. All of these are good factors, but your friends need to have something. The point of this video is not to handhold you through the process of making friends in high school, but my goal here is just to show you the types of people that you want to surround yourself with. People that are talented, people that have goals and are good at things that will enable you to succeed the best. If your friends are all better than you at things, they will bring you in their direction. They will uplift you. Even if you're the dumbest person in your friend group, all of your friends get 100 on a test. If you were close with them, you studied with them, you prepared with them, you get a 95, you might have been the worst out of them, but relative to the rest of the class, you're still miles ahead. That's the way you want to think about college admissions. It's not locked down to just your school, you being the best there. Your goal is to be able to find yourself a community where you can all pull each other to the finish line. Building a friend circle like this doesn't just happen overnight. It's an ongoing process that you're going to continue doing throughout high school. Even for me, like, I was happiest with my friend circle by the time I got to around senior year. Like, it just takes time. You're gonna meet new people, do your thing, but at the end of the day, part of building this friend circle starts with you. You need to be more extroverted, talk to more people, put yourself in an environment, and do the things that are going to bring more friends into your life. The good news about high school is that literally nobody is thinking about you. Everybody is just so involved in their own image and their own lives that you could switch your entire personality overnight, show up to school, and at least 90% of people wouldn't care. The remaining 10% who like even say or do anything would just kind of accept it as it is, as who you are, and then just move on with their lives. You want to put yourself in a position where you feel confident, whether that means, you know, dressing a little bit nicer, starting to wear a little bit of jewelry, or just doing your thing, whatever works for you. Just do it, bro. Nobody cares. You don't have to consistently be that one person that everyone knows you for. Be who you want to be. That's the core advice to just meeting new people and getting better friends. In this video, I'm going to give you like the exact blueprint for fun in high school, and even if the exact dates like don't line up exactly to where you are, adapt it into your own life. The advice still stands. The most important thing we need to talk about, which is kind of our driving point moving forward in the video, is when to have fun and when to work. Drawing this line will make or break whether you get into Ivy League universities or you're forever socially outcast by Indian aunties.
So Pratik, when is the best time to have fun, to build these friends who are going to go on to work closely with me in high school and uplift me and help me get into Ivy League schools?
Let's talk about it. When you meet new friends, you need to set aside time to hang out with them. My rule of thumb is that the earlier you can hang out with these people in a way that's socially acceptable, the better it is. This means the best time to make new friends is when you're in an environment where you're exposed to a bunch of new people, you can meet a bunch of new people, and your schedule is also flexible enough to be able to go do things with them. This is undoubtedly the first 2 months of every school year. The question you probably have in your head now is that you know what needs to get done and you know when to do it. How do we bridge that gap? There are 2 social skills that probably took me years to learn, but I'm just gonna give them to you right now. First, if the thought pops up in your head to go introduce yourself to someone, to say something, you're gonna start counting down, obviously internally, 3, 2, 1. By 1, you should already be going over to say something. I don't care if it's the most attractive guy or girl you've ever seen in your life. I don't care if it's the child of a celebrity. You go and start walking towards them to say something by 1.
Have you ever had a dreams that you could?
Second, if you're the type of person to think about what you're gonna say before you go up to someone and you say it, you've already failed. Whatever thoughts are going on in your head are never going to be funny or interesting enough to actually convince you to go and do it. Here's the bottom line, and the sooner you realize this, the better. What you say doesn't actually matter. What matters is how you say it. Your energy, the way you make people feel, that's what they remember about you, not the actual joke or comment that you made. Stop thinking so much, just loosen up and go for it. These things are always way harder in your head than they actually are in reality. Now back to the topic of when to have fun. Once the school year gets going, whether you decide that you want to designate Friday evenings to hanging out with your friends or the weekend, that's pretty subjective to your case, but there are some times that are better than others. Let me give you some food for thought. When you're a freshman in high school, you can't even drive. You need mommy and daddy to come drop you off to your playdates, right? You need your little pacifier to keep... I'm playing. But the bottom line here is that you don't have that much independence. There's not that much you can do. But more importantly here, there's not that much that anyone can do because nobody's driving, nobody is doing these things. Because everyone is limited, what does that mean for us? It means that it's time to work. Because the big social interactions aren't happening in this moment, this is your time to start grinding. Keeping our previous point in mind about reaching out at the start of the school year and doing what you need to do to build a friend circle, by around November time, the school year pretty much settles down. This is when you want to settle into your routine and coming back after school, especially Monday through Thursday, and just grinding on your activities and your resume. On these weekday nights, especially as an underclassman, it's very, very rare that anything is going on. So you're going to work extremely hard during these days to stay ahead, consistently ahead of the classwork that's being given to you. This is integral if you want to be able to spend time on the weekends to go hang out with friends and do something. During longer breaks, set aside a little bit of time to have fun, but what's equally as important is to try to read the vibes and energy from your friends. If the majority of your friend group is traveling and nothing's really going down, then you take the time to grind. Maybe you spend that winter break working on some kind of new project or trying to bring an idea into fruition. However, if everyone is down to hang out, then you definitely go and hang out. You pretty much have to go hang out when everyone is in the mood for it, because these are the big memories, right? These are the things that are actually going to have like a lingering impression on you, and from like a slightly more degenerate point of view, these are the actual moments and interactions that are going to bring you closer with your friends. This should all organically happen, but I'm just painting the picture for you. Same thing applies for the first semester of 10th grade, but I want to make something very clear. Your grades mean everything. If you are not getting near perfect grades freshman, sophomore year, you're not building an Ivy League application, you're breaking down the whole building. You want the brutal truth? The kids who get several B's or even a C in freshman year don't change. I have seen this time and time again. It's like the mistakes that you make in freshman year. When you go into sophomore year, you think you know what they are. But obviously sophomore year takes it a step up. It gets a little bit harder. So what worked freshman year doesn't exactly work sophomore year. You make the same mistake again, you get a couple more B's. You try to do the same thing going into junior year. Junior year is way harder, so you get even worse grades. It's just a cycle. You have to be grinding, getting ahead from the start. That is when the momentum keeps going and you consistently get those A's. From freshman year, you need to know what it's like to excel at the highest level. That is what the dog in you is saying, right? That's how you know if you're built for that Ivy League level application. This also kind of goes without saying, but eventually you have to go to that Ivy League school, compete with those kids to get good grades in college. If you're struggling in your local public high school to be able to get all A's, I don't want to say that it's not possible at all. You can obviously turn your life around, but it's going to take effort from your end. It's not just going to be some easy thing that comes to you. Now, when it comes to grades, this is also one of the main benefits of having friends. They will help you get the grades that you want. Being the dumbest person in a friend group of geniuses might feel like for your ego, your confidence, that you're not enough. But when you finally have the opportunity to take a step back and look at the bigger picture here, you will do phenomenally. And it's for a couple different points. Working with your friends will save you a remarkable amount of time because you're all being so hyper productive. Also, divide and conquer. All of this video is just jokes, just for entertainment. Hey, be good kids in high school, alright? You also optimize your study habits from just looking at what other people are doing, learning what works. You optimize your work habits and your own productivity by just being surrounded by a bunch of people who are extremely driven. And lastly, you can also try to find not loopholes in the system, but when you're working with other people, it's like there are naturally going to be certain things that you don't even have to think about anymore. If there's a group project, you already have the people to gravitate towards. If you don't know what happened in class or you missed a day and you need to borrow someone's notes, you have the people to fall back on. That is the kind of loopholes that are perfectly legal and part of the system that just come from organically building connections with others. The next time frame in our academic window is from winter break to spring break. I personally feel that from a social standpoint, this is kind of the most died down and quiet part of the year, but it's also the most important academically. So same strategy as earlier, nothing is going on, which means you work. This time period is usually when all of your HOSA, DECA, science fairs, internship applications open. Now is the time when you lock in. Even if your friends are doing something, if you followed the previous steps and you just hung out with them during winter break, now is the time when you can skip a couple things here or there. You've laid the groundwork for the friendship. They're not just gonna leave you because you missed coming to one or two, thrifting sessions. You'll be fine. Instead, I'd actually recommend going on the opposite end of the spectrum and getting yourself into monk mode, right? Go watch Iman Gadzhi's videos and stuff like that. They will really help you with productivity. Once this competition phase is done, usually post-April, you're chillin'. Take some time to decompress, hang out with your friends, and then just power through the semester. Your summer plans are pretty interesting because it varies so much between the grades. However, let me just say this. Even if you spent Saturday and Sunday every single weekend being unproductive, just hanging out with your friends, but you locked in the other 5 days in the week, you will still be making more progress than 75% of people, barring that one, you're actually being productive, and two, you have a plan going into the summer. Now, we don't just want to be better than 75% of people, we want to be better than 95% of people. So let's scale that back a little bit further and do something realistic, right? Your friends are also not going to be free every single weekend unless they're lowlives, right? You have good quality friends, so let's plan around that. Here's what I recommend, right? Link with your friends about once a week, right? That's usually a good break from things, and it can be something that's kind of consistent as well. You guys can just go play basketball at a local park or play soccer every week and just make it a consistent thing, right? Y'all meet up, you play one evening, maybe a Friday evening, you have some fun, cool. On top of that, you can sprinkle in a couple different trips or activities or plans for things to do, right? Something a little bit bigger, maybe you go eat at a nice restaurant or you do something a little bit different. Those are where the meaningful experiences come in. Pretty much all of the other time in summer, most of the weekdays and most weekends are going to go into grinding. Now, if you're watching this video and you feel like for even the fun optimized parts, there's a lot of hard work involved, you'd be right. It's because I'm not making this video as some kind of trap to just get you to have fun in high school and make you feel good, but then not get into an Ivy League school. We are making it to the top, and that means that you have to put in the work. You are going to have fun, and this is your optimized way of doing so, but outside of this, you're grinding. And honestly, if you're doing what you like, it's going to be a rewarding process. Your friends are going to be involved here. You'll be working on nonprofits and stuff with them. You don't have to think of it as being this tedious work. It'll be something that you kind of enjoy as well. We're aiming for Ivy League, all right? Not your local community college. The resume has to get built at some point, and now is that time. Let's finish out this section with junior and senior year as well. If you follow my other videos and you know that I recommend taking your SAT, ACT at the end of your sophomore year summer, obviously lock in for about 2 months before your exam. Don't really be going out, just focus on getting the scores you want. As soon as you go take that exam and you get your 1500 plus score, you're chilling. You're in junior year now, so a couple things change. First, you can finally drive, which means you're way more independent. You can go places, even if you don't have a a car or your license, it's very likely that one of your friends does, so you can go on to do things. However, school also gets harder at this point. You're gonna have more clubs and more leadership positions. Everyone's more busy. But here's the interesting part. Even if you're not hanging out as much or doing things outside of school, all of your friends will actually be kind of grinding together. There'll be that like shared pain from having to take these like really hard classes together. You'll be grinding on like Discord calls like late night after school, just studying and working. This whole experience will actually make you even closer with your friends. And then when you guys actually do have downtime to go do things, you can go be a degenerate, right? Have fun, all around good vibes. Same thing as in previous years as well. When things get a little bit more intense with your competitions and clubs, that's when you chill, the amount you're hanging out and spending with other people. Maybe you just decide to work on some kind of studying by yourself if you feel that that's the best way for you to lock in these times, or you have a really weird schedule. The closer you get with your friends, the harder it can sometimes feel to have to decline like multiple opportunities. But the truth is that if they're good friends, you can just be very clear with them, right? Hey bro, I have this science fair competition coming up in a month. I'm not gonna be able to hang out until then. They'll be like, as long as you tell them these things, they'll be chill about it, man. It's not that big of a deal as long as you're communicating this. The best way to work around this is just to plan things in advance and then also not ghost people, right? You don't want them to feel like bad about asking you to hang out, but as long as you're planning things like well ahead of time and around your schedule, you'll be fine. The summertime before your senior year is the most important for college apps. This is the point in high school when I went fully into monk mode. I just didn't do any kind of big social interactions or hang out with people for several months. If I ever did like see my friends, it was either for like a small like evening out every once in a while, right? Maybe once every month to 2 months, or it was for something that was like semi-productive that I was already going to do. So what I'd do is I'd like work out with friends, like I'd go like lift weights and stuff with them, or we'd go on like a run, or we'd go play basketball. I think that if you're going to go see your friends, this is the best way to do it because it's a way to just kind of get yourself away from your work. Even when you're on monk mode, you can't be grinding 24/7. Like your thoughts and ideas and creativity will stagnate. So at some point when you leave your house, try to overlap things like this, because at the end of the day, you shouldn't be staying out till 3 a.m. like hanging out with your friends like maybe you did a couple times during junior year. Now is the time where you have to lock in. The thought that kept me going during the college app process is that once it's done, you're completely off the hook to just do what you want. Just reminding myself of that a couple more months and I'm literally done, that just drove me to keep working as hard as I did. This is also not a time where your friends can really help you that much, especially when it comes down to like your essay writing and marketing your application. You need to do that on your own. Everyone's gonna be busy working on their own thing. They're not really going to just have this time to be able to give you advice and constantly guide you. Also, there is a little bit of tension, right? No matter how good and morally clean your friend circle is, there's a little bit of like information hoarding and competition that's going to be going down. When you're on monk mode and you're just focused on yourself, grinding, not worried about anyone else, you just avoid all of this drama altogether. Realistically, college apps will take you from summertime all the way until at least November of senior year. Even if you listen to my other videos and you take my advice and you grind out everything in advance, you finish it, there's no guarantee your friends will, so people will pretty much be busy throughout that first semester senior year. This is also the last semester that really matters for your grades, so at the end of the semester, you're gonna make sure that you power through, get whatever you need to, those good A's, and send them off to colleges. As soon as you finish your first semester senior year, you're pretty much done. Anything else from here is optional. If you decide to apply to some kind of scholarships, or maybe you're in, unfortunately, an IB program like me, or you have a couple AP exams, you can study for those and do what you need to, but everything from here, the pressure is off of you. Because once you get into college, you get into college. Take the time to decompress and chill. And I mean that, right? Literally, like, you can have as much fun as you want. I remember, like, with my friends, like, skipping class to just go to the gym and work out and then coming back to school, doing whatever we wanted. It doesn't matter. And your teachers are usually gonna be pretty supportive of that as well. I would recommend during this time to actually just, like, have a little bit of fun in class and try to get to know your teacher as well, right? Most of your teachers are not like hard asses, right? They're actually chill like that. As long as you get to know them a little bit, like, they're not going to mind mind too much if you're just gone for a little bit and you come back doing your thing. Overall, the second half of senior year and then that summer was some of the most fun experiences I had in high school. Plan out like senior trips with your friends to where maybe you go, at least for me, like I love to go camping. So I went camping with some of my friends. You can travel out, maybe you go to California or you go down to, you know, the Six Flags 3 hours away from you, or you travel abroad to like Mexico or something, Cancun. These are all like super fun ideas you can have as long as you can get to that stage, right? You put in the work now, you grind, you're happy with how college admissions turned out. Everything is going to be such an enjoyable process moving forward. This is definitely one of the longest guides on my channel, but I really think that this is something that can benefit all of you in high school, really give you a good sense of where to be placing your time. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Pratik. Like, comment, subscribe. As usual, I'm out.